7 satellites, as well as a debris field and numerous asteroids orbiting the core. The system is called Planet X, Nibiru, or sometimes Nemesis, and according to many leaked information as well as ancient researches and documents, the system is on a trajectory toward the Earth and will cause imminent apocalypse when it arrives. Well, actually before it arrives. Also, like I said, what we know is only from our own research and ancient document and leaked information, because the real existence and cause of the planet is hidden from the public at the elite sphere of socio-economic collapse. Anyway, back to Kilauea. You might be wondering why and how an approaching system of planets could trigger a volcano here on Earth. Well, the answer is simple. Every object has gravity, and something as big as 10 Earth can very well shake the planet before it is even possible. We have already seen its effect via the increase in the Earth wobble, evident in the changes in the sun's and moon positions. This has been observed by farmers and people living near the poles for years now. Watching the sky is an important part of their job, and they are experienced, and therefore it is likely not an illusion. The result of this wobble, seismic and volcanic anomaly, Kilauea erupted for consecutively 3 months, with the first explosion on the 4th of May. A 150-foot high lava fountain shooting up from the lower east rim. A magnitude 5 earthquake immediately hit and the rift collapsed. Earthquakes became the new norm in Hawaii during the past 3 months, as there are many days where 250 earthquakes hit, and the record being 800 earthquakes a day during July. Kilauea is only an example. Planet X approach is stirring up the Earth's core and waking up virtually every volcano on the planet. If you have been following our topics on volcanoes, you would know that 40 of them are currently aggressively active, and the majority of the rest is having at least some kind of activities like fissures or gas flow. Virtually, the entire rings of fire is roaring back into life, including the supervolcano Yellowstone, whose eruption could kill immediately 87,000 people and render 7 million square miles of sea and land inhabitable. It is really a dire future for us because a 100-foot fissure cracked up in Grand Teton National Park, and even though this crack is 60 miles from ground zero of Yellowstone, it sits directly above the system of Yellowstone magma chambers. Move higher into the sky and we'll find tons of strange phenomena as well. The media, of course, will tell you that all these happenings are part of nature, but in fact they are abnormally. Why? Because events like sundogs or red skies are supposed to be a rare occurring, but the dramatic increase in the frequency signal that something weird is going up there. Scientific balloons in California atmosphere has measured higher than usual cosmic radiation. There have also been a rise in energy distribution across the solar system and a rise in the luminosity of the Moon and Venus. Now we all know that the Moon and Venus do not radiate light. They reflect the Sun's light. And since the Sun's luminosity is not increasing, there must be another source of light approaching. Now, I know I said that Planet X is a system of planets, not a star, so it cannot radiate light, but it can reflect back the Sun's light into the Moon and Venus, thus enhance the amount of light that these two cosmic bodies reflect. Also, like I have said before, the phenomenon of red and orange skies is becoming more and more frequent. If you guys remember a few videos back, we have this interview with a scientist who used to work with the Hubble telescope, and he saw the inbound system of Planet X with debris fields and Planet X itself radiating crimson red lights of iron oxide. As the system approaches us, clouds of red iron oxide particles are charged into the inner field of the solar system and then entering the atmosphere of the Earth. Of course, I'm not denying that in many parts red skies are because of lights from wildfire. What I'm talking about is the other case of reddish sky and orangish clouds, which are taking place on a more and more frequent basis. Another case is orange snow. which were reported in March this year across a number of countries in Northern Europe. According to the authorities as well as the media, the official cause of this event was sand and dust carried by the winds all the way from the north of Sahara Desert. According to them, such happening is completely normal and natural. NASA even published several satellite images showing the cause of these red sand. That is pretty convincing. The same reason was used to explain the red sky in London in 2017. The only odd thing here is that the few Russian weather and environmental agencies reported a large deposit of iron oxide from the upper atmosphere. There is something very fishy here. Oh, and by fishy I also kind of mean it literally, because during the London red sky in 2017, many people reported that they smelled something foul, something like that of the smell of rotten eggs. Officials said that this is only normal tropical smell. But do you know what smells like rotten eggs? Well, iron oxide. The whole point is that the elites will always say things to make sure that we don't know about the imminent doom, for ease of controls as well as protection of their group interests, as they secretly prepare ghost city and underground facilities all over the world in anticipation of something cataclysmic. There are even sources saying that there is an entire city underneath the Denver airport. Powerful storms that used to appear once in a lifetime are now becoming an annual occurrence. 2 weeks before Kilauea erupted, on the 14th and 15th of April this year, Hawaii's were hit with a torrential downpour. Biggest one in Hawaii recorded in history, with 50 inches of rain in only 24 hours. Scientists call this phenomenon rain bomb. Basically, it's a burst of downpour which happens when a cool heavy column of air sinks suddenly in the middle of a storm. This downfall pulls the water droplets down with tremendous force. The effects of climate change have caused the upper atmosphere to warm to the degree that it holds much more moisture, which builds up until it meets cold, dry air, creating a massive and unstable system. As a result of the Hawaiian rain bomb, the natural reserve and the botanical gardens of Hanalei valleys were hit the hardest. These places were shut down and the consequences were closely monitored because these regions are home to species of plants and animals that are found nowhere else on the planet. In March, Europe experienced a horrible cold which was dubbed the Beast from the East. The deep freeze is nowhere near normal because March is normally spring in Europe already. Then, only 2 months later, the continent temperature records are shattered as heat wave roast the land, setting wildfires burning even inside the Arctic Circle. Southern Europe reached as high as almost 50 degrees Celsius, while the western part reached over 40. Things are even worse, as every single place in the northern hemisphere faces the same situation. Canada and the United States reaches more than 40 degrees, and Japan and Korea are no better. Things is extremely bad for Japan, as just a few weeks ago, it experienced a historical flood that killed more than 200 people, and now 22,000 are sent to hospital because of heat stroke. In Hanoi, Vietnam, the temperature near the concrete roads at noon reaches 60 degrees, high enough to melt wax. And as Planet X gets closer, all these man-made climate change will be much worse. Temperatures will surge and fall, and there might be no way to predict when and how much things will change, and how big the indications will be for us living on the planet. One thing for sure is that most of our civilizations might be wiped out before Planet X is here, if it was to trigger Yellowstone. Imagine a nuclear winter and acid rain bomb and sudden heat wave and global warming. That is definitely the recipe for disaster. A bit of references, but if you guys watch the movie Geostorm, you will understand what I'm saying. Burning sun rays and bleachers will happen simultaneously. The only difference is that in the movies, these things were caused by a human invention and could be stopped, but in reality, what on earth can stop the trajectory of a planet 10 times bigger than the Earth? Not to mention cosmic magnetic activities and radiations, which we know a teeny fraction about. Well, what is even sadder is that, like I said above, the elites are secretly preparing their escape while not letting us know about it just for their ease of control. You and I may not survive this, and we only have each other's guys. So a good thing to do is equipping yourself with survival skill and knowledge, and more importantly, keep looking to the sky and listen to the ground because a harbinger may come any moment. Noticing these things 1 hour early would have already mean the difference of life and death. So guys, if you happen to see something strange, please immediately inform us because we're gonna extract a lot of insights from the happenings and we will in turn inform you guys of the indications of the occurrence. Also, to keep you supported on the matter, hit the subscribe button because new videos will come out very soon. Until then, stay safe everyone. This is JT at X Science signing out. A new planet might be lurking far out of the solar system, waiting to be discovered. How intriguing is that? Welcome to X Science, and I am JT. Just recently, researchers at Cortex has found mathematical evidence suggesting that there may be a planet X deep in the solar system. This hypothetical Neptune-sized planet orbits our Sun in the highly elongated orbit, far beyond Pluto. The object, which the researchers has nicknamed Planet 9, could have a mass about 10 times that of the Earth, and orbit around 20 times further from the Sun on average than Neptune. It may take between 10,000 and 20,000 Earth years to make one full orbit around the Sun. The hypothesis comes from the observation that small objects in the Kuiper belt tend to follow orbits that cluster together, suggesting a new planet hiding far beyond Pluto. NASA states that the announcement does not mean there is a new planet in our solar system. The existence of the distant world is only theoretical at this point, and no direct observation of the object's nickname has been made. Or does it? Some of us might already recall Planet X, aka the Nibiru catalyst. There has been a great deal of controversy surrounding the subject. Ever since before the discoveries of Neptune in 1846, astronomers have hypothesized that there are two large cosmic bodies lurking far beyond Uranus, causing its erratic orbits. When Neptune was discovered, it was deemed too small to be the only planet affecting the orbits of Uranus, and even Neptune's orbit itself seems to be affected by a large gravitational force on the edge of the solar system. In December 1983, the scientists of the IRAS Observatory made it to the headlines, announcing that they have used their infrared satellites to detect an unknown object, possibly as large as Jupiter's and possibly a part of the solar system. The object was detected twice within only 6 months near the constellations of Orion. IRAS, a joint project by the scientists from the US, Great Britain, and the Netherlands, described the object as so cold it casts no light, explaining why it has not been observed before by optical telescopes. IRAS also reported that the object seems to be moving towards Earth. Only 4 years later, however, in 1987, NASA announced that its two pioneering spacecraft, which has been exploring beyond the known planets since 1972, has failed to find any evidence supporting the existence of the object. Dr. Robert Harrington, chief astronomer of the U.S. Naval Observatory, despite all the sudden cover, did not stop doing his work until his mysterious death in 1993. Ever since, NASA has not said a single word about Planet X again. So what happened to this object? Could it really be Planet X? And if so, could NASA have been hiding it? Despite NASA announcements and cover-ups, speculations and conspiracy theories around Planet X or the Nibiru catalysm continue. In 1995, Nancy Learder, a woman from Wisconsin who claimed that she received brain implants from extraterrestrial being named Cetas as a girl, said a large planetary object, Planet X, would sweep through the Earth in the early 21st century. The collisions or near miss between the two planets would cause a stop in the Earth's rotation for 6 days. Physical pulses, disruptions of the Earth's magnetic cores and displacement of the Earth's crust. The Charium Sixteenth, author of the book The 12th Planet, interpreted ancient Mesopotamian religious texts, stating that a giant planet beyond Neptune, Nibiru, passes by the Earth every 3,600 years, allowing its sentient inhabitants to interact with humanity. Later on, the theories of Planet X was blended with the Mayan calendar and the doomsday of 2012. The implications of the existence of Planet X, other than the theories of it passing by Earth, is related to catastrophic events in a more indirect manner. American physicist Richard Muller discovered that mass extinctions happen every 26 million years. He suggested that every 26 million years, a large object, for example a planet, passes by the Oort cloud, a cluster of comets on the edge of the solar system, causing the comets to crash into the internals of solar system, including into Earth, causing mass extinction. So, what did you guys think? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed the videos, like, subscribe and stay tuned for more. Other than NASA's being accused of covering up a huge planetary object heading toward Earth, Google has also been accused of hiding Planet X. In 2008, it was reported that Google Sky was missing a patch of data near the constellation Orion, exactly where the IRIS project reported finding the Jupiter-sized object. Google scientists, however, attribute the error to a glitch in the system. Now, 30 years after the dismissal of this original Planet X discovery, The planets once again resurface. Deja vu? Well, whether Planet X really exists or not, and whether it will directly sweep through Earth or plunge average-sized comets towards Earth, most of us probably won't know it until it is too late. Of course, according to official sources, there is nothing to worry about. Remember, stay safe and keep looking to the sky. This is JT at X signing out.